Hey everybody, how's it going? I don't know where that voice came from. I just wanted to make this video to, I guess, kind of reveal and just share what the process of my healing journey. I want to talk about uh, the kind of holistic nature of of my journey, and just paint the picture of like how it's kind of unfolded because I found it very interesting, and I think it's taught me a lot. It's taught me a lot about the nature of life and just the nature of how things are. Um, so I made a video the other day talking about heavy metals and heavy metal detoxing. And I'm still looking for solid answers. If it is heavy metals, if it's toxic mold or something like that, I have like a fake tooth here as well, half fake tooth. And look, there's many different things, but what I can say is that I'm definitely in a place now where I actually feel I feel more sane, I feel more alert, and I finally, after 6 years of of intense physical study into myself and a whole bunch of other things, which I'll kind of talk about in a moment. I'm actually feeling like I have the tools, enough tools at least, to get to at least a kind of like a nice homeostasis kind of thing, which I know for a lot of people that have been in my life is not really an issue. They're just naturally like that. And particularly when I've looked at really athletic guys, I'm like, fuck you. But also, bless you and congrats on your journey, and I wish you all the best. But but uh, yeah, it's how I came to this information that I've got now about the ketogenic diet, about good fats and um, autophagy and fasting, the benefits of fasting, how you can kind of, and from that, how you can biohack your system into creating what you want. Um, all of that information came to me after I did this very important thing. Um, so I've been living alone for maybe 7 months, 8 months. First time living on my own. And I did so because I was ready to break out of this bubble and break out of this not much happening in my life, because pretty much for the last, ever since I left acting college, I would say maybe 8, 9 months of my year, I've been pretty solitary and not much has been happening. And I've been making work. I've done a couple of acting gigs. I've done a bunch of theatre. But most of that time, it's just me feeling like I can't actually get out there. I can't actually do what I want. And when I trained as an actor, I'm like, I gotta make this vessel, that my tool, literally my tool. I need to go. My laptop's gonna overheat. I need to make it the best version I can, because when you're light and you're bright and you're easy breezy, then acting is easy. It's after what you learn about it all, you can just tap into the moment, and you go shablam shabloom, wherever you want to go. But that itself has been such a fucking chore. It just so unnecessarily difficult. I mean, necessary in the grand scheme of things. If we're looking at this from like a really big spiritual perspective, on like the ascension of our consciousness and who and what we are as a species, or just as an existing being. from that context, there's a bit of like, it's all kind of a coming of age and a growing up collectively of who and what we are. And being here for 6 months, I set out on the task of tackling, all right, I'm going to fucking finally sort this out. I spent a year in America trying to do the same thing 3-4 years ago. Thought I had. Obviously, I hadn't. As I started branching out more, I started getting sick again. And that was a very long tangent. And back to my point, how I came across this information was I really had to sit in what I was feeling, which was suicidal depression. It was like, honest to God, it was just the pits, the absolute fucking pits of just feeling utterly worthless, that I can't go out, that I can't get a job, that I can't even talk to my friends about this because I'm going to pull them into my darkness because I'm running these victim mentalities that I can't do anything and I can't give back to a friendship. And that was truly the scariest thing. And I got into a bit of self-harm and a bit of like a bit of things. I might save that for another video perhaps, but it was very, very deep. And it got to a point where thankfully I had a lover that I am seeing, and through our love making and through that, it inspired me to get back on the bandwagon of trying to heal and connect. And I had to. There's a whole bunch of reasons why I also got into this state. I'll explain that in another video. I had some work. It mentally broke me, and then I got a bit disconnected from life. And we'll get to that. Getting to my point, because I'm going at so many bloody tangents. I had to sit with, why am I feeling this? Like, I'm trying to heal myself. Every time I go out, I get sick. Despite every physical effort, why? Why do I continuously get sick despite all of my efforts? And I'm like, okay. And this is my belief, that these situations that have come to me in these issues with toxicity are a result of a belief pattern that I had as a child. And because that was my mindset, that was the story, the landscape of my personal paradigm, the lens through which I saw the universe, through either just that attitude affecting my state of being, or that attitude literally was projecting into the universe itself, as I am a part of the universe, and that comes into synchronicities and manifestations. But regardless of where that is, I do believe the story that I told myself was the key contributing factor. And the way I have found all of this health stuff is when I tackled that story. Now, that story happened when I was maybe 5 or maybe 8 years old, around then. And I was just a kid. I was learning my 3 times tables, and I was joking around with my mum. My dad came in, saw that I was joking around. He came back an hour later. We were still on my 3 times tables, and he saw that I wasn't paying attention. And he got he got really angry at me, and he got so angry that he pushed me, and I hit the wall, and I got winded. And as a kid, I was just being playful. I didn't want to study. I just wanted to play with my mum, and I just wanted to play with my parents, being an only child. And like the working was just wasn't working for me. and then I got this, and I got winded. It was my first experience in my lifetime of being winded. I didn't know what was going on. I was absolutely fucking terrified. And I ran to the other side of the house. I found a cupboard, and then I kind of like shimmied behind the cupboard, and I just kind of like sat there, and it was in that moment I created, and the thing was, I stayed there for maybe like 4 hours, 5 hours, and the only way that I could endure that experience and comprehend it and actually survive it mentally was by running what I call a pity program, that I will not get love in this situation, which will completely obliterate my whole existential existence as a child, right? If you don't have love, then, the horror is too unimaginable to bear. It'd be like watching Weed and Dark Crystal at the same time. The 80s film, that's another story. I threw up watching the Dark Crystal on whilst I was smoking a bit of weed because it was too terrifying. Good times. But that pity program kind of manifested in this idea of like, fuck you, you don't understand. And it has manifested in, and that was has been one of my fundamental identity forming stories, that the way I get love, the way I fundamentally get love, is through a sense of pity. Because that was the only way that my 6 or 7-year-old self could handle it, because that was the only thing available to me at that age. Now, of course, life goes on and you forget these stories, but there's still programs that are running in your unconscious mind. They're still just kind of like percolating through, right? And it's I really think that's manifested in all of these unconscious health issues. What I've learned from a wonderful lady called Marissa Peer, she does a lot of Mind Valley talks, but she does hypnotic language therapy, rapid hypnotic language therapy. Yes, or something to that effect. And what I learned from her is that the mind is designed to protect you, and it's designed to give you what you want. So for me, like, for the modus operandi of every child, of every person, is to get love. Like probably one of the most fundamental things. Despite food and water and other, let's not talk about that. Is designed to protect you. So even if I'm making a conscious effort to get well, or go out there, or do the things and be active and be proactive, the unconscious mind is like, well, no, because you know that you doing what you want is going to cost you love. The example of me doing not wanting to do 3 times tables, have some fun, and then getting winded because of it. The unconscious is like, well, I'm gonna do what you want. I'm gonna protect you. I'm gonna make you sick. I'm gonna give you these things. I'm gonna give you depression. I'm gonna anything to keep you safe. And it all, I feel, has manifested because of that fundamental story. And we all have those stories, and that is so much a part of life. That is so what the human condition is. That is so what we are. We are just patterns. We are just patterns of energy, patterns of thought, patterns of behavior, and habits and ritual. And it's just a repetition of our expression. Now, speaking of a repetition of expression, that's what the sacral chakra is about. It's about creativity and sex. It's a reproduction of the self. Creativity is a reproduction of your soul, of your essence. And that has really been a fucked area in many ways. It's been a very, very long journey. So in this deep, dark depression, I had to ask some really fundamental questions. And I thought I had tackled it years ago doing a course called Landmark. But the thing was, it didn't compute that that was the instance. I never found the root story. And it wasn't till now, here, at this place, did I finally have the safe enough environment and time to actually fathom the experience, to actually see it for what it is. And I realized that my mind, because it was a pity program, was actually repressing and suppressing and distracting me from actually getting to the cause, because I wasn't actually ready to unveil it. And this time and period of my life has definitely synchronistically been that time. And I've had a bunch of other experiences. Maybe I'll talk about that in another video. But once I tackled that story and I said, I'm not running a pity program anymore, and how can I be of service? And another way the pity program unraveled was I would be a helper. I would really help people. I would go out. I'd really, really passionately a stand for helping people, very often at the expense of myself. And that's just part of the drama triangle. You've got the helper, the victim, and the perpetrator. And when you do not have clear boundaries, when you are not whole and complete, you can run this program. And if you're being a helper, and then I stopped being a helper, then when I stopped being a helper, I started becoming a perpetrator. I'd get pissed off at people, get really angry at them. And then when I thought, oh, I'm a really bad person, really nasty person, I'd become a victim again, like, oh, I'm a nasty person, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, no, you're not a nasty person, you're a right person. Then I'd go be a healer again, feel good about myself, and then I would overstrain myself, and someone would do something that I felt like, oh, fuck you, like, that's so draining, and then I become a perpetrator again, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, drama triangle, right? And the way you get off the drama triangle is you take responsibility for the reason why, for the story why, because that story is our creation, that we have created our beliefs, we have created our mindscape. Now, quite often inadvertently created from, like, outside influences from, like, the world or belief patterns or cultural habits, but nonetheless, when you become conscious, when you turn your mind's eye onto these stories, you are in control, and you can change those narratives. It is by no means easy. By no means easy. No, not at all. But it is possible. And it is there. And if you can draw the distinction between your thoughts and your consciousness that is observing the thoughts, if you can recognize that your thoughts, your sensations are all just information, like we tend to collapse our identity with our thoughts, when really our true identity is a bit more nondescript than that. It's actually the witnesser of the thoughts, of the sensations, right? This is my mind, what I tend to think is David, but really David is just this entity that is just observing it. When you draw that distinction, it gives you that kind of crowbar to winch open the space and have access to a sense of presence and awareness and choice. Because we tend to think we're a victim to our biology, but truly we are not. You can change the behavior of your DNA, and you can change the behavior of your cells. And if you don't believe me, do your own research. Or if you have a conjecture, I'm just expressing my opinion. I leave the rest to you. I by no means am a doctor. I am just someone who's gone on a very big journey. And all this healing stuff and all this information happened to unfold and just come to me spontaneously, like Googling things and through synchronistic events, like the person I was seeing cancelled on me, and in a kind of like, oh shit, my one security thing has just, like, the comfort thing is just gone. It's evaporated. I was so depressed, I'm like, I'll go on a 5-day fast. And then in the 5-day fast, I started learning about all this fucking miraculous stuff that the body can do. So, my point being is that get to the root, get to the cause. Sometimes you're not ready for the root. Sometimes you're not ready to see that area of it. But if you keep pursuing and you have the intention, your mind will get there, and your mind will do what you want. I really recommend looking up Marie Greer on Mind Valley. Just type hypnosis Mind Valley. Maria Pierce, I think it is. The information she has about how you can program your thoughts, program and trick the ego into not self-sabotaging you, or even if you just don't know what the hell is going on, program it to reveal what you want to see, and just many amazing things. But yes, the point of this was, if you get to the root of the cause, those stories we tell ourselves create our reality. Your perception is the key to reality. What you perceive is what you receive in terms of your experience, I guess. I just made that up, but I thought it was cool. Okay, this is very long, so hopefully you watched it to the end, but if not, I guess it doesn't matter because you won't hear this video anyway. Okie dokie. That's me. Much love. Take care. Ciao.